So if you just recently got into running or some type of aerobic activity and people are throwing around terms like zone 2 and you just don't know what that means, this video is for you. So what is zone 2 training? Zone 2 training is basically low intensity aerobic training, and it can be about 65 to 75% of your max heart rate. Ideally, this is where you can hold conversations. So whilst you're running, you can hold a conversation, but it will probably be hard to sing. It's also the sweet spot where your mitochondria can grow and adapt. Think of it as building your engine so that you can make it efficient, durable, and resilient. Why does this zone 2 training actually matter? So zone 2 is where your body uses fat as fuel, and this can improve your metabolic flexibility. If you were to build your endurance base, zone 2 would be the best way to do this because it builds aerobic capacity, improves lactate clearance, and delays fatigue. There is a longevity link to zone 2 training too, because if you have strong mitochondrial health, then it leads to better heart function, energy, and long-term vitality. Also, there are recovery benefits. So for people like me, I love to run at like very high speeds and really tire myself out. I don't know why that is. Maybe I have some stuff that I need to get off my mind. But when you're in zone 2 training, you can actually take it easy on your joints and your central nervous system. In addition to this, it can be done more frequently, so you don't get exhausted and you'll be able to go the next day and the next day after that. Now, there are a few ways that you can find your zone 2. One of them would be the talk test. So if you're running, you can hold a conversational pace. It might be hard to sing though, so that would probably be your zone 2 pace. And like I said before, heart rate, so this would be 65 to 75% of your max heart rate. There is something else called the Maffetone formula, which is basically 180 minus your age. So if I'm 28, I would just have to subtract that from 180, and that would be the heart rate that I would run at. Another one is feeling. I don't like to go by this one because you honestly don't know sometimes. So if you can actually hold a sustainable effort for 45 to 90 minutes, then that should be ideal. The optimal way to actually check your max heart rate zones and all of your heart rate data is to actually get one of these heart rate monitors or a Garmin watch. Now, with that in mind, I just want to say that zone 2 is not everything. What I want you to understand is that zone 2 basically builds your base, but it doesn't actually build speed, power, or race performance. To get faster, you actually need to stress the system in different ways. Say for instance, before I was talking about really training intensely and just going all out. Now, zone 3 is not that, but zone 3 is basically your tempo pace, and your tempo pace basically teaches you how to hold a faster pace for longer. The next one would be zone 4 to 5, which is basically intervals or hill sprints. This is where you'll be really killing yourself trying to do this stuff. What these zones do is improve your VO2 max and your lactate threshold. Your lactate threshold is basically when your body produces too much lactate and cannot clear it from the bloodstream fast enough. And what this leads to is cramping, fatigue, and a significant drop in performance. Like I said before, zone 2 builds the engine, but intervals and tempo teach you how to use it at full capacity. Now, the key thing to take away from this is that endurance athletes spend 80% in zone 2 and 20% in higher zones. And this would be called the polarized training model. This is the most efficient training model that they've actually come up with, and you might know it as the 80-20 rule, and it's applied to basically everything, not just fitness. The key takeaways from this is that zone 2 is the foundation for fat burning and endurance. And if you're trying to do any type of aerobic activity and you want to get faster, you do need to use higher zones strategically to accomplish this. And remember, the goal is not to train harder, but to train smarter. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you for coming to my talk, and I'll see you on the next one.